You spend months planting, watering, maintaining your garden. Then winter comes, and everything stops. Your beds go empty, your soil sits cold, your tools get stored away. But your grocery bill doesn't stop. Every week, you go back to the store. Leafy greens, herbs, vegetables, the same things your garden used to produce. Think about that. For half the year, your garden produces nothing, but your need for food never changes. That gap, that empty space between seasons, is where dependency lives. Most people accept this. They say that's just how gardening works. Nothing grows in winter. You just wait for spring. No, that is not how production works. That is how dependency is designed. You were taught a seasonal model. Plant, harvest, stop, buy everything again. Not because it is efficient, but because it keeps you external. Because every off-season is a buying season. Meanwhile, biology never stopped working. Cold hardy crops still grow. Soil still holds heat. Microclimates still exist. Growth just slows. It doesn't disappear. The system didn't fail because of weather. It failed because it was built to stop. You are not lazy. You are not doing it wrong. You are working inside a system that shuts down on purpose. And when a system shuts down, you go back to buying. That is not inefficiency. That is design. This is not a gardening problem. It is a dependency problem. This is not gardening. This is a 365-day food production system. It is not about planting when the weather feels right. It is not about waiting for seasons to change. It is not about hoping things grow. It is about structuring time, temperature, and biology into a system that produces food continuously. This system replaces a broken cycle. Plant in spring, harvest in summer, shut down in fall, buy everything in winter. That is not production. That is seasonal dependency. Instead, this system does something different. It removes the idea of off-season completely. It turns your garden from a place that produces occasionally into a structure that produces on schedule. Because here is the shift. A garden is not a place. A garden is a timeline. And if you control the timeline, you control the output. This system produces continuous leafy greens, cold hardy vegetables through frost, overlapping harvest cycles, food during the exact months most people are buying everything. Not by adding more land, not by spending more money, but by reorganizing what you already have into a closed production loop across time. This is not a trick. This is a system. This is not marketing. This is math. If your garden produces for 3 months and sits idle for 9 months, you are only using 25% of its capacity. That is not a space problem. That is a structure problem. The secret is not the plants. The secret is timing and temperature control. You are not creating magic. You are controlling biological speed. Think of it this way. Your garden is not a field. It is a factory line. Right now, most people run that factory for one short shift per year. Then they shut it down and go back to buying from someone else's factory. This system keeps that line running, slower in winter, faster in summer, but never stopped. This is not about gardening harder. It is about structuring production. This is not about buying better inputs. It is about needing fewer external inputs. This is not an experiment. This is a declaration of independence. Main promise: eliminate dead months, extend harvest across all seasons, produce food 12 months a year, reduce store dependency permanently. This is the control system of the entire operation. If you don't control timing, you don't control output. Most people think gardening is about soil, water, or seeds. It's not. It's about when things happen. Timing is what turns a garden from random harvests into a scheduled production system. What to do? You stop planting for now. You start planting for future harvest windows. That means in late summer, you plant for fall. In early fall, you plant for winter. In winter, you prepare for early spring. You always work one season ahead of your harvest, because plants don't respond to your intention, they respond to time plus temperature accumulation. In simple terms, you are not planting food, you are planting time into the system. Common mistake? Planting when it feels right. Spring comes, people rush to plant everything, they overload the system in one moment. Result? Too much food at once, nothing later, long gaps of zero production. That is not a production curve. That is a spike followed by collapse. Sign of success, you know this is working when you are harvesting and planting at the same time. There is always something at different stages of growth. Your harvest feels steady, not overwhelming. Instead of one big harvest, you get a flow of output. Principle embedded, the secret is not planting more. The secret is controlling biological timing. You are not growing faster. You are staggering growth across time. Think of it like a conveyor belt. Most people load everything onto the belt at once, then nothing moves later. You, instead, feed the belt continuously, and the output never stops. This is how you multiply output without increasing space. Most people use one bed for one crop for one harvest. That means one timeline, one yield, one moment of production. After that, the space just sits there, waiting. This strategy turns one space into a layered production system. What to do? You plant fast crops and slow crops together in the same bed. For example, fast, radish, lettuce, spinach, 20 to 40 days. Slow, cabbage, broccoli, carrots, 60 to 120 days. You plant them at the same time. Here's what happens. Fast crops grow quickly and get harvested early. Slow crops stay in place and continue growing. By the time slow crops need space, fast crops are already gone. So one bed produces multiple outputs across time. Common mistake? Separating crops by type or speed. People think, this bed is for carrots, this bed is for lettuce. That creates empty time, because each crop only uses the space for a limited window. Another mistake? Overcrowding without timing logic. Stacking is not about cramming, it is about sequencing occupancy. Sign of success? You know this is working when you harvest something early without disturbing later crops. The bed never feels empty. Output comes in layers, not in one wave. You don't get one harvest, you get stacked harvests. Principle embedded? The secret is not more land. The secret is time-layered occupancy. You are not increasing space. You are increasing how long that space is producing. Think of it like a building. Most people build a single floor. Use it once, then wait. You build multiple floors in the same footprint. Each layer produces at a different time. That is how one small bed starts behaving like a much larger system.
This is what breaks the idea that nothing grows in winter. Temperature is not an on-off switch. It is a speed control. Most people treat cold like a wall. In reality, cold just slows biology down. This strategy allows your system to keep producing, just at a different pace. What to do? You stop fighting the climate. You start working with crop tolerance. That means, in colder months, grow cold hardy crops like kale, spinach, mustard greens, garlic, and carrots. In hotter periods, shift to heat-tolerant crops. You also use simple protection. Row covers, low tunnels, cold frames. Not to create summer conditions, but to buffer extremes. Common mistake, trying to grow summer crops year-round. Tomatoes in winter, cucumbers in cold soil. That fails. Not because you lack skill, but because you're ignoring biological limits. Another mistake, thinking protection must be expensive. People imagine greenhouses, heaters, complex builds. They overcomplicate, then do nothing. Sign of success, you know this is working when you see green growth while frost exists outside. Leaves stay alive instead of collapsing. Growth continues, slower but steady. You are not chasing speed, you are maintaining continuity. Principle embedded, the secret is not heat. The secret is
When
temperature
temperatures
stability.
drop suddenly,
You are not
harvests
turning
fail,
winter into
but a
summer.
stable
You
temperature
are
line
reducing
ensures
fluctuation.
healthy plant growth and
Think
a
of it like
successful
this.
harvest.
Plants
The thermal
don't die because it
covering
is
of the
cold.
thermal arrow
They die
is
because of
retained
sudden drops
inside
and
the
exposure.
outside wind
A simple
block.
cover acts like insulation. It traps a few degrees of heat. It blocks wind. It reduces stress. That small buffer is enough to keep biological processes running. In simple terms, you are building a thermal buffer, a small layer of protection that keeps your system alive while everything else shuts down. Think of your garden as a battery. In summer, it charges fast. In winter, it discharges slowly. Most
camera
people
stands
disconnect
still,
the battery
and the
in
battery
winter.
is always
This
connected.
system keeps it
The energy
connected,
flow is
so
slow,
even when
but never
output
stops.
slows, it never hits zero. This is what turns a single harvest into a continuous supply. Without this, even a well-built system still produces in bursts, and bursts create the same problem. Too much, then nothing. This strategy flattens that curve into a steady flow of output. What to do? You stop planting everything at once. Instead, you break planting into small, repeated intervals. For example, instead of planting 20 lettuce at once, plant 5 every 7 to 10 days. Instead of one large sowing, create a sequence of micro plantings. Each batch matures at a different time, so harvest becomes continuous. Common mistake: planting in one big event. People treat planting like a task to finish. I planted my lettuce this month. That mindset creates one overwhelming harvest, waste because
After
you
the
can't eat
harvest
it
is
all,
complete,
and a long
the empty
gap with
plant bed
nothing after.
remains for a while before
Another
late
mistake:
replanting.
forgetting to restart the cycle. They harvest and then delay replanting. That delay creates production gaps. Sign of success? You know this is working when you harvest the same crop every week. There is no peak and no empty period. Your kitchen receives a steady supply, not spikes. You don't feel rushed to consume. You feel supplied. Principle embedded. The secret is not yield. The secret is distribution over time. You are not trying to grow more food. You are trying to control when that food arrives. Think of it like income. Would you rather get paid once a year or get paid every week? Most gardens operate like annual income, one big payout, then nothing. This system turns your garden into a weekly paycheck. In simple terms, you are converting biology into a scheduled delivery system. Same crop, same space, but spread across time. That is how you remove stress from both the garden and your life, because consistency is what replaces dependency. This is what removes dead space between crops. Even with good timing and succession, most people still create one critical mistake: they wait. They wait for a crop to finish. They wait for the bed to be empty. They wait for the right moment to plant again. And every time they wait, production stops. Relay planting removes that gap completely. What to do? You plant the next crop before the current one is finished, not after, before. For example, your lettuce is 70%
Maximize your
grown.
space
You
and
seed
grow
the next
more
crop
by
between
intercropping
rows.
seedlings
Your carrots are
directly
still
into
in
the
the
gaps
ground.
between
You
your main
transplant
crops.
seedlings into available gaps. You overlap cycles. So instead of harvest, empty, replant, wait, you get grow, overlap, transition, continue. Common mistake: treating beds like single-use space. People think, I need to clear everything first. That creates empty soil, lost time, interrupted production. Another mistake: starting seeds too late. If the next crop is not ready in advance, you are forced to wait, and waiting equals zero output. Sign of success? You know this is working when you remove a mature crop and something is already growing underneath or beside it. Beds transition instantly, not gradually. You never look at empty soil. The system feels alive at all times. Principle embedded: the secret is not faster planting. The secret is overlapping life cycles. You are not increasing effort, you are removing idle time. Think of it like a relay race. One runner does not stop before the next one starts. They overlap. They pass momentum forward. That is why the race continues without pause. In simple terms, your garden is not a series of events. It is a continuous chain of transitions. Every time you eliminate a gap, you increase total yearly output without adding a single square meter. This is how empty beds disappear, not by working harder, but by refusing to let time sit unused. This is what turns plants from one-time events into recurring production assets. Most people harvest once, pull the plant out, reset the bed, start over. That is not a system. That is constant rebuilding. This strategy reduces replanting and increases output from the same biological unit. What to do? You prioritize crops that regrow after harvest. Instead of pulling the whole plant, you harvest partially. Examples: cut outer leaves of kale, center keeps growing. Harvest lettuce leaves, plant continues producing. Trim herbs, they regrow denser. You treat plants like ongoing producers, not disposable units. Common mistake: full harvest mentality. People think harvest means take everything and remove the plant. That forces constant reseeding, more labor, more time gaps. Another mistake: choosing crops with single harvest cycles only. That limits output to one moment. Sign of success? You know this is working when the same plant gives you multiple harvests. Output comes from established plants, not just new ones. Your system feels stable, not constantly restarting. You are harvesting from living assets, not resetting from zero. Principle embedded. The secret is not planting more. The secret is extending the productive life of each plant. You are not increasing input. You are increasing yield per biological unit. Think of it like this. Most people treat plants like disposable tools. Use once, replace. You treat them like machines. As long as the system is intact, they keep producing. In simple terms, you are turning your garden into a recurring yield system. One root system, multiple harvest cycles. That is how effort drops while output increases, because the system is no longer dependent on constant restarting. This is the layer that prevents your system from shutting down. All previous strategies manage time, crops, and flow. This one manages environmental resistance. Without it, winter slows you down. With it, winter becomes just another operating condition. What to do? You build simple structures that protect your crops from extremes. Not expensive, not complex, just enough to create a microclimate buffer. Examples: low tunnels, PVC plus plastic; row covers, fabric over crops; cold frames, small box with clear lid. These systems do one job. They trap heat, they block wind, they stabilize temperature. That's it. Common mistake: thinking you need a full greenhouse. People imagine large builds, high cost, permanent structures, so they delay. And delay means another lost winter. Another mistake: building structure without strategy. A tunnel without timing, a frame without succession, that becomes an empty shell. Infrastructure only works when it supports a production system. Sign of success. You know this is working when frost exists outside, but plants inside are alive. Soil stays workable when surrounding ground is frozen. You can harvest when others cannot. The outside world shuts down. Your system doesn't. Principle embedded. The secret is not heat. The secret is heat retention and stability. You are not trying to create summer. You are preventing collapse. Think of it like insulation in a house. It doesn't generate heat. It keeps what you already have from escaping. In simple terms, you are building a thermal shield, a small layer that protects biological activity from external shock. That small difference, even 2 to 5 degrees Celsius, is enough to keep plants alive and producing. This is the final piece. Because once you control timing, crop flow, and temperature buffering, your system no longer depends on seasons. It operates through them. Let's do the math. Right now, most gardens operate like this: 3 to 4 months of production, 8 to 9 months of buying. That means your land is inactive for more than half the year, but your spending never stops. Now compare that to a 365-day system. Setup cost, one time. Seeds, $20 to $50. Basic tools, already owned. Simple infrastructure, row covers, low tunnel, cold frame, $50 to $200. Total, $100 to $300 one-time build. Output value. Even a small system can produce $15 to $30 per week in greens, herbs, cold crops. That equals $60 to $120 per month, $720 to $1,440 per year. And that is just from a small, well-managed space. Store comparison. Look at what you buy in winter: lettuce, herbs, greens. These are some of the highest markup foods per kilogram, and they are the easiest to produce in a controlled system. So every week you are buying them, you are paying for something your system could already be producing. Payback period. If your system produces even $20 per week, that's $80 per month. A $200 setup pays itself back in 2 to 3 months. After that, you are no longer recovering cost, you are generating ongoing value. And here is the real shift. If your garden only produces 3 months per year, you are using 25% of its capacity. If it produces year-round, you're using close to 100% of its capacity. Same space, same soil, same person, different structure. That difference is not small. That is a 4x increase in productive time. And once a system starts producing continuously, it stops being a hobby. It becomes infrastructure. This is not just saving money. This is creating output. This is not a hack. This is asset behavior. Once a backyard produces year-round, it stops being decorative. It becomes a food system under your control.